What does it mean to be the light? The yogic seers tell us that the workings of mind, life, and body should be viewed from the calm and peace of the spiritual planes. It is from the higher planes that our mind, life, and body can be filled with spiritual light and divine presence, and this process is what my meditation talk is concerned with. The power and impulse that makes humanity great is the impulse to arrive at universal sympathy and love, and to know the soul of other existences. The inner truth of this need to receive and give love is already known to us at the soul level. To find this universal love of connectivity is the push that makes us human beings wider, broader, and vaster. Secretly, this is what drives each and every one of us to widen our consciousness. In our attempt to find universal love, there are many entry points, link points, that can be found which would allow us to bring this universality into space and time. You can open yourself up to the light of divine wisdom, the light of divine power, the light of divine peace, the ethereal web of light that is behind and within everything as a connecting and perfecting force. Or we can open to a very personal divine presence that forms all things and fills all things, as in the universal Divine Mother. It is a personal call within each of our souls as to what link works best for our mind, life, and body. Light is the substance within which wisdom, love, power, peace, the interconnectedness of the whole of life, and the Divine Mother's Shakti works. In the Sanskrit language, the root sound for light is div, D-I-V. Div means to shine or become bright, and out of this is derived deva. A deva is a shining one, or a being of light. The female version of an illuminated one whose body is made of light is Devi. Light is their substance, light is their consciousness. Thus, the beings who are made of light are called Deva, Devi, gods and goddesses, and are expressions of the one divine. The body of the gods and the goddesses is one of light. And what is light? It is the essence, the source, expanding into something so ethereal, so essential, that it is its own source, symbolized in form. Poetry can help us in approaching the question of what is the essence and the source of light. Sri Aurobindo asks the question, who is behind life and light, in these few lines of this poem? He says, when the winds were asleep in the womb of the ether, who was it that roused them and begged them to blow? He is lost in the heart, in the cavern of nature. He is found in the brain, where he builds up the plot. In the pattern and bloom of the flowers he is woven. In the luminous net of the stars he is caught. In the strength of a man, in the beauty of a woman, in the laugh of a boy, in the blush of a girl, the hand that sent Jupiter spinning through heaven spends all its cunning to fashion a curl. In life's drama, what is it that makes a boy laugh or a girl blush? What is behind a perfect curve in a flower? It is the same power that sends Jupiter spinning through the heavens that also brings about all the seemingly small actions and responses within life forms. The real question might be, how does the one fit its wholeness into the extraordinary detail, harmony, beauty, and perfection of the multitudinous forms of life? Of course, we turn to our individual mind to find some kind of answer. The classic example to help in the understanding of how our mind works is that the thoughts and emotions are like ripples on a lake that do not reflect the pure deep waters, but only reflect the surface agitations of the ego-driven mind and emotions. Let me clearly point out that as modern-day yogis who live in the world, we do need to understand the pattern of the ripples. So these ripples of our mind and emotional mind are not to be outrightly dismissed as merely Maya. It is our soul's desire to help others evolve, and for this we need to understand how the mind and emotions work in us and in others. To help the manifestation evolve is why we have taken form and why we have become embodied beings of consciousness. Each of us has sat before a body of water, an ocean, or a river, or a lake, or a pond, and watched the waves, one after another, on and on. The rhythmic lapping of the waves occurs across all the worlds, across all time, and no two waves ever repeat themselves. No two waves are ever the same. And yet, obviously, they are all interconnected. The physicist will say they follow a particular waveform pattern that can be described by a particular formula. What does the formula do? It captures a relationship between form, force, and time. The yogi, in the meditative state, can observe the way the psyche works and discover the very laws that govern the mental and psychic worlds, just as the physicist can do in validating the laws of matter, force, and gravity. The yogin comes to the conclusion that the mental and psychic worlds have their own predictable patterns, and that, just like the laws of physics, these can be summed up in a formula. On the earth and in the worlds, it is an extraordinary intelligence that guides an enormously effective power, and all this somehow is harmoniously held together in such a way that the minute details of life are worked out in an incredible perfection. The intelligence, strength, harmony, and perfection of the one are hidden behind screens of form and action. The physicist calls it a screen of randomness. The yogis have named this multi-layered screen of illusion Maya, and have dared to name that which lies behind and beyond the screen as consciousness. Western scientists have not come to terms with the particular notion, the particular yogic notion, that consciousness lies behind each and every aspect of life, let alone map out the territory of consciousness, as the yogis have. When the ripples of the mind and the emotional mind become still, it is then that we can see more deeply. If the meditation practitioner can reach a place of quietude, and if she, he has a deep yearning for the divine, then truth laws, quite possibly, could be revealed to the practitioner. Of course, there are many screens and countless numbers of ways in which the divine oneness hides and plays in the divine Leela. And so there are many levels of awakening, and there are many realizations to be made. The seer ultimately declares that God, Brahman, is everywhere, is in all things, and is all things. The seer states that the Lord and the world, even though they seem to be distinct, are not really different from each other, as the world is a cyclic movement of the divine consciousness in space and time. The seers declare that divine consciousness is the one stable and eternal reality. For lack of time, I will not go into the details and intricacies of this cosmic formula, and will leave it for another presentation. To further this discussion on what it means to be the light, there is one more step that needs to be taken. Please listen carefully, for it is he, Brahman, who works into the matter of life and mind via she, via the Divine Mother. He and she are one. Thus, when we open to the light of unity, we open to the light of he and she who are one. The light of Brahman is the light of the divine Shakti. How can we receive this darshan of light from the Divine Mother? Well, this can begin to happen through the ongoing process of a completely integrated yoga practice in which we purify the body, senses, vital body, and the multi-layered aspects of the mind and emotional mind. The living light of the Divine Presence can only come as a grace from above. If and when we receive this golden living light, then it is our duty to help the whole of humanity by sharing the light of the Divine Presence. It is the fire of aspiration of our soul that demands the purification, and only then may we be ready to receive this darshan, this grace from the Divine Shakti. We must light this fire of aspiration, not only for ourselves, but for the whole human race, right now. We are living at a momentous time in the evolutionary movement of humankind and life. On the one hand, it is a very treacherous time. On the other hand, it is a very opportunistic time. Treacherous because the forces of darkness have never been stronger. Opportunistic because the golden, living light of consciousness has poured itself into she, the Divine Mother, as never before in the history of the planet. I am here as a representative of you, and to serve as a beacon of light. It is she, the Divine Mother, and her conscious force, the Chit Shakti, that has to carry us now. The yoga that is needed today is to allow the Divine Mother to carry us all forward. Are we ready to receive the light? Are we ready to serve the light? Well, let us get ready. Let us purify the vessel, and let us be ready through the diligent practice of yoga. Here is a prayer given to all children of the Sri Aurobindo Ashram, as written by the Mother, Mira Alfasa. The prayer is for each of us. Make of us the hero warriors we aspire to become. May we successfully fight the great battle of the future that is to be born. against the past that seeks to endure, so that the divine light may manifest into form, and may we be ready to receive this light. I will wrap this talk up with a brief overview. The divine himself lives in a oneness that is vast, infinite, formless, and without end. From this poise, he pours himself into she, the divine feminine. She pours herself into life in a perfect relationship of alignment and knowledge to and with all things. What does it mean to be the light? To be the light, we must continually purify the vessel of the body-psyche continuum so the light can freely pass through us without impedance or distortion. Let us help to bring the divine light through into the manifested world. Let us protect the light and serve the light. Let us be the light. Om Shanti, 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 Om.